Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to talk with Eliyahu. We're going to have a bit of a chat about sort of what's happening around us and how, or the time that it's taking to change or to move. And it's because I had a someone very dear to me ringing me up and sort of worrying and being quite upset about what's happening in the world and what's happening in their life and how everything just seems to be so difficult. And although hearing that there's changes and there's goodness in the world and all that sort of stuff, so she sort of asked me, what am I told? I channel and I talk to a few very interesting beings or enlightened lights, I suppose, whatever. And she's asked, like, what can I tell her about it? So I did say to her that things are getting better, and I try to encourage her. But then I woke up this morning and I sat and asked a few questions, and the answer that I received was that I sort of understood it through like a healing session where I just learned from Ahuva, was a healing way. And it's like I was shown that if there's something in the body, how you clear it, how you need to teach people to do it so they do it every day, and then it clears the body slowly, slowly, allowing the body to heal and grow. And so it's nothing is like happen in a snap. And I approached Eliyahu about it to try and sort of make it into words that will be more understandable, so it's easier for people to understand how long this is going to take. What's going to happen? What are we looking at? This world seems like it's dark and crazy. And Eliyahu came up with a really amazing analogy. So I'm going to transfer you to him and ask him to say it and explain. Thank you, Eliyahu.
Well, perhaps a way to help us understand that um, that big changes are happening, enormous changes are happening. Uh, Nevertheless, we don't feel the full impact of them yet in our lives. And I mean, as we read and find out what's happening in the world, we know that big changes are happening. Um, so let's take an analogy from nature. Let's think about the seasons. So we know that we have a winter solstice and we have a summer solstice. So let's think about the summer solstice. It's toward the end of June, June 21st or 22nd, something like that. So that's the day that the Earth the northern hemisphere receives the most daylight of the entire year, so that it's soaking up the sun more hours and minutes on that day than any other day of the whole year. So,
Theoretically,
by one way of thinking, you would expect that would be the hottest day of the year. It's getting the most sun, but in fact, in everybody knows, in everybody's experience, it's not the hottest day of the year. The hottest day of the year comes maybe a month or so later.
Yeah.
And so why is that? It doesn't make sense. Well, it does make sense because the Earth is still cold, and
Winter.
and is warming up from the winter, and it takes time. The uh, those rays of the sun are warming up a cold Earth still on that day when it receives the most sunshine, and so the accumulation of the cold that's still being warmed up on that summer solstice uh,
Is lingering.
means that the effect of the sun isn't complete yet.
Yeah. So the cold is lingering and the warmth is heating it up, and then it becomes warmer and warmer and warmer. It accumulates and accumulates.
So the accumulation of that warmth then isn't experienced by us, isn't felt by us until later when the sun has been warming up the earth long enough that you really feel the full effect of it.
Yeah.
So perhaps that might.
So you look at it the other way around as well. You've got the winter time, like midwinter. A lot of the time is not really
it's not that cold.
It's not that cold yet, and then suddenly later on, and even in springtime, you still get some crazy cold snaps that are still lingering from the cold, as the supposedly days are getting longer and you get warmer and all that sort of stuff. So we were talking about that. If we understand that, and because we are part of nature, and therefore for us, it takes the same thing in order for us and for the earth and to ascend, to get higher, first of all, in our evolution, in our way of thinking, in our openness, in our understanding, and so forth. So we are looking at what's happening in the world, and we are still feeling the beaten up, the slavery from what we have grown with. So the pushing up, the being opening, the wakening up is happening. It's happening everywhere. But everyone is still carrying that enslavement from behind us. And so it's like every time a person walks into a bank and still feel that feeling of like someone asking him things that he thinks he shouldn't be asked, or goes into or gets something that it's like it tells him, oh, you're still in winter. But it's up to us to go, oh, no, you are still in winter. I'm already in summer. I'm already feeling the warmth. I'm already awake, and understanding that. So in when you get so I think when you get hit by that negativity, it's up to us as individual to recognize it and virtually at that moment go, oh, I recognize this negativity in my life, but I know that this negativity is in the past. I'm lingering it. Maybe that's sort of a helpful way of dealing with it day to day, I think. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you don't do that, then it just hits you, and what it tells you, oh, you're still in it. You're still in the mud. You're still in the frozen. You're still not, like nothing's happened. So each and every one of us, by recognizing that this is a shedding. This is the drops. It's happening. It's dropping, and those things that we are seeing are actually, we are seeing them as they're walking past us. A little bit like if you are walking in a very, very crowded street and you're walking in one direction towards something, and there's a whole heap of people walking the other direction. So you keep meeting them as you're walking, but they're passing you. You're walking forward towards that shop or towards that place you're going to go. It's not like, oh my God, I'm walking with all those people and I'm walking backwards. I'm getting further and further away from the shop that I want to get to. You're actually going forward towards that shop. It's just that those people are walking the other direction. Yeah, maybe that's also, I'm trying to find different analogies to clear it in people's mind, So it's the same in our healing. So this morning when I did this healing, I recognized those places that were like, they were still blocked. But then I had that voice and it was like, but they're not blocked. They're actually dissolving. Those blockages are dissolving, and what you're looking at is those particles that are leaving that space that's blocked. And because you see them leaving, it's still murky. The water is not clear, but it's going to be clear. Another analogy is after a flood. When you see all the dirt going, and it looks like the river is dirty, but if you watch it for a few days, eventually the water is beautiful and clear, and all that murkiness has disappeared. So yeah, that sort of puts us in a better
way of seeing things.
Yeah, but better way of things. So I really hope that this sort of helps people to see it and maybe feel more positive, because as you feel more positive, of course, you see the more positive, and suddenly you see the glimpse of lights that allows that to happen. And before you realize it, you are actually walking in a much clearer street than those people are gone, or the water is clear. Before you realize it, suddenly it's clear, or the air is clearer, or and you start seeing little beautiful things are becoming more and more and more and more and more around you. So yeah. Any other thing you can tell us, Ilya?
No,
Help us. All right, thank you so much for listening. I hope it helps. We send it with lots of love, right? And we are we have lots of interesting things coming, and we're going to try and share it with you to see if it can help in this amazing journey that we're in. Yeah. All right. Bye. Please share it with anyone that you think will help. It'll be helpful too. And we'll talk soon.